Today, Scorched Earth Toys at anymoon.com is reviewing a toy that you can grab for $14.99. That almost never happens on this channel. It's kind of a big deal. It's the MEPToys 1/48 scale Invid Scout, and you can get yours today at MEPToys.com. Can we call it MEPToys? I'm going to go with MEPToys going forward. Rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. Get these Invid figures at MEP and then head over to Big Bad Toys Store through the link in the comments below to support this channel and get yourself some Robotech toys to square off against these little crabbies. This toy has been sort of unofficially available for a few months, but I'll talk about that later. It does have full retail packaging that I was impressed by. It's got nice art that definitely feels very 80s and Robotech. Inside the box, you get the Invid Scout figure as well as a space booster, little veneer thrusters, plasma cannons, a standing male REF figure for you to slaughter mercilessly. Then there's a second tray that includes a display stand and adapters for use with the space booster, without the space booster, or the Invid Shock Trooper that will never be made. Boo! You also get a baggie of parts and a screwdriver. Behind the tray, you also will find the instructions, just assembly instructions for the display stand. If it were me and my toy company, I'd probably put some basic instructions about the plasma cannons or switch into space mode, but whatever, it's simple, you will figure it out. Here's the little included soldier figure, which obviously is not painted. If you've got the skills, that would be a nice thing to do to really dress this guy up. They don't do the best job of standing, but if you are having a problem with it falling over, you can kind of squish it down a little bit and then it'll stand a little bit better. Here is the pilot figure that comes with a Sentinel, we'll call it a Robotech Alpha, but Legios toy. So you can see just a comparison there, a little bit broader on the MEPToys version. But it does look good, and it is a lot of fun having your Invid swoop in and look like it's going to kill this little guy. So that adds to the play value. All right, let's address why this toy didn't get a real mainstream release and why it's only $14.99. And that is because the joints don't fit as the manufacturer originally intended. Everything is just a little bit loose, a little bit sloppy. Here, the hips, in my opinion, are the worst, right? So this leg, I haven't treated in any way. It pops out of the toy very easily. Now you can fix that with just a little bit of super glue you let dry on that peg, and then you'd put it back in and it'd stay in there a little more securely. And I think that's really the worst handling joint, is those legs tend to fall off frequently. Out of all of my 3 Invid Scouts, this joint right here is loose on this one. It tends to be pretty good on the other ones. So that might be an issue. But again, you have ball joints that are just being popped into place. Usually that's something that you can tighten up either with floor wax, water-based polyurethane, or dried super glue. So things to consider there to make your time with this toy a lot more enjoyable. Another thing that pops off pretty frequently is this back vent, and that's because you have the option of putting the space booster on, which I'll show you later, but in handling you will knock that off occasionally. So let's go through articulation since we're talking about the joints. You have this shoulder joint here, which allows you to do things that, like, I'm not really sure the Invid Scout actually did, but it's kind of a fun point of articulation, lets you bring the arm forward or pull it back. Not a huge range of motion there, but it's nice. The elbow looks like it should be a double joint. There should be something that happens on this interior edge, but there's not. Instead, we just have this ball joint on the exterior, which lets you only go out so far for a grasp, but you can come in to the point where it touches that shoulder. If you do get a little carried away, the ball joint just pops off. No big deal. Moving down to the ball joints at the waist, they are balls on the outside here, so you can pivot in and out with the leg and the toe, which is great. And then you can bring it all the way back, all the way forward. So all good things there. Get some nice natural looking poses. Then you have a knee that lets you go all the way into a flying position or crouch super low, which you can use for some good running poses. Again, menacing that REF pilot can be a lot of fun. So articulation-wise, there's a lot of good things here. It's just you're gonna have to do some maintenance before you really enjoy handling this toy. To convert to a plasma cannon equipped toy, you're just gonna go ahead and pop off these little covers here and then grab your cannon and install it. Just a little press down and there you go. Now, again, with the fit, these might be a little loose, a little easy to bump off, but there you can see it's pretty good looking when it's on there. Maybe a little better looking than it was when you had those obvious doors that could be swapped out. But there you go. When I first got this toy and pulled it out, I was really curious what these little things were. I thought they were extra joints and that maybe this toy was gonna have joints that broke a lot. That's not the case. What you're doing here is taking your toy with its floppy legs and all, and this is actually one I've treated with super glue, and you could see, maybe not the cleanest looking thing after you do that, but whatever. You're gonna take your legs off of the toy, and that then leaves an opening. We're also gonna take this backpack off. Now we just have a little shell of a little Invid. And then we're going to install these little veneer thrusters is what they are. So they just plug right into place. And this is what's gonna allow the Invid Scout to maneuver in space. Instead of those legs, it wouldn't need to land on anything, I guess. There we go. You gotta go in there and stay. All right. You will not have a camera in front of your face when you do this. And you can see that's just such a loose fit. That could really use a little bit of glue there too. And then we're going to connect that like so. Very loose parts. I haven't done a lot of maintenance, so you would get a better idea of what it's gonna be like when you handle this. But this is the Space Booster version of the toy, and it is definitely falling apart on me, but easily resolved, and you know, a pretty little cool conversion that you're capable of doing. Here's the included display stand. Some minor assembly required. You're gonna have 3 bolts, 3 nuts. It all lines up. It's all very simple once you start doing it. I know it can be a little intimidating to see loose screws in a package, but really nothing difficult. There are some QC issues with the display stands themselves, namely that there are air bubbles trapped inside the plastic. So not the best look, but everything's transparent. You're probably never gonna notice it from any sort of distance. Only when you've got a camera right up in front of these things does it really pop out. Now, if I take my toy, I can clip it onto this display stand like so, which you saw earlier, what it looks like menacing an REF figure, which is great. We can also sweep these legs back and get some fun flying poses, which, you know, better if your legs can stay in the toy at the time, but yeah. So the inclusion of a display stand is really cool, and it is going to add a lot of fun for your display purposes. I wasn't so keen on the adapter that's used for space mode, which here is a space mode Invid toy, and this is a different one I got. So I got 3 of them. This one, everything's holding together just fine. The veneer thrusters are in place. They are not popping out. The backpack is decently snug, so sometimes you get them and they're a little better than others. But the display stand adapter just kind of sits on it, and so I would prefer a stronger grasp. I am looking forward to Sentinel coming out with their beta or tread toy, and then having these little guys menacing what looks like an alpha beta in space. I think that's going to be pretty cool. Given the crappy fit and finish, MEPToys labeled this a completed model. You're going to need to work to get the maximum enjoyment. You might think that I have a negative opinion of this toy, but the truth is, I kinda love it, despite all of its faults. I've had so much fun attacking my Alpha toys with them. It's not a premium toy, but at this price point, it's an awesome accessory to premium toys. So if you've got the patience and a love for Robotech the new gen, and a couple Alpha toys lying around, I think you're going to enjoy them a lot, despite their flaws. If you enjoyed the review, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Check out anymoon.com for more, and thanks for watching.